fairly frantic, probably, or just about got the idea that there is a time and a season for just about everything. Now, if we're thinking about times and seasons, I quite like summer. Summer is my favourite season. I love the sun. My birthday is in the summertime. The days are longer. You can have barbecues more easily. Summer is, quite frankly, the best season, obviously. And I think we can all agree on that just as we start off together. Put your hands up if you agree summer is the best season. Yeah, there we go. Teacher hands straight up there. I'm surprised that not all of your hands are up. That baffles me, quite frankly. I mean, autumn can be kind of fairly pretty. I get that, I suppose, different coloured leaves and things, but eventually those leaves fall off, they become slip hazards and slushy and mushy, and it's also cold and wet pretty much all the time. Winter does have Christmas, I'll give you that. Christmas is wonderful, but winter in general is awful. It's dark basically all day. It's really cold, especially up north. Still not used to it. I'm not a huge fan, if I'm honest. Christmas is the one bright spot in winter. And spring, I will grant you, is a good second choice to summer because it's getting brighter, it's getting warmer, the flowers start to come out and grow. But equally, it does still rain quite a lot. So I think now that I've pointed all that out, we can agree summer is the best season. Yeah, summer's the best season? No, still some shaking heads, right. Take a moment and have a little chat to people around you and just talk about what your favourite season is and why it is your favourite season. I might just say Oh, you might. That's my bed. Right. Okay, so I think there's probably been a bit of spirited debate going on. I'm just chatting with Dave and Beth. They're both wrong. Beth thinks autumn is the best for some unknown reason, something about crisp mornings and beautiful leaves. And Dave thinks spring is purely because it's his birthday. So I think really that's just a statement of presence. So selfish, frankly. So does anyone else want to share why their favourite season is their favourite season? No, that's fine. I've already explained why summer is the best season, so clearly you all agree with me now. However, I can see that there might be some other perspectives out there. And I think what is important to remember is that God has created all of those seasons, and He's created all of them for a purpose. So in summer and spring, things grow, more sunlight means more kind of crops growing, more food, we're able to feed more people and all that kind of thing. That's great. In winter, that's when there's lots of rain and stuff like that. So actually that's really important as well, because without that, things wouldn't grow, we wouldn't have riverbeds would run dry if it was just summer all the time. And similarly, people. I love summer, and probably without me, I think the ice cream vans in this country would go out of business. I'm pretty much keeping them afloat solely on my own. And I'm happy with that, to be honest. It means more ice cream for me. Similarly, in winter, people who love winter, without them, we might not have those wonderful kind of Christmas jumpery type things that are genuinely brilliant and I love to wear. So, we need all people, we need all seasons, we need all times in our lives. And just as God created the seasons of the year and those who enjoy them or those who don't, He has a purpose for them. And so too, He has a purpose for creating those things and those people, and is in control of every time in our life. And I think that's especially important to remember at a time like this, where officially we're in a time of national mourning. The next slide, Martin. Thank you. The Queen has been a constant in almost all of our lives, and even those that are here today that might have been alive for more than 70 years may not remember clearly a time before. But sadly, the Queen has died, and it's a time of massive change. We'll be singing God Save the King at the World Cup. Instead of, and we'll be changing all of the stamps and coins and banknotes. And I think possibly most importantly of all, significantly of all, HP sauce are going to have to change all of their bottoms, because currently they say by royal appointment of the Queen. So that's a big change for HP sauce. Hopefully they won't change the recipe as well. But that is just the superficial stuff. The Queen was a huge figure internationally and did a huge amount of work hosting world leaders and diplomats, as well as meeting with the Prime Minister regularly, and all of that domestic stuff that she did as well. And all of that will have to be picked up by King Charles and other members of the royal family. But what's been really wonderful in amongst all this change is seeing the amount of tributes to the Queen, many of which centre on her faith and the fact that her incredible service to this country and the people of the UK was a product of her faith. She demonstrated and talked about this faith most often, as Bishop John said, in her Christmas speeches. And in her Christmas broadcast in 1952, just before, or about 6 months before she was crowned, she said, "Pray for me, that God may give me wisdom and strength to carry out the solemn promises I shall be making, and that I may faithfully serve him and you all the days of my life." The Queen recognised that for all her own wisdom and knowledge and education and reading, that she needed God's help, God's wisdom, God's strength to carry out the role that she would faithfully continue in for 70 years. In essence, she recognised that God was the one in control, and that as she prepared for her coronation at a time of immense personal change as well as national change, that she needed to let go and let God, acknowledging that God was in control and not her. Often we talk about God being in control. When we talk about that, we use the analogy of a sat-nav. The sat-nav might tell us where to go. Maybe it's the quickest route, maybe it's the most direct route, or the route with the least traffic, or the no toll roads. But in general, if you've got a good sat-nav, it will tell you where to go and how to get there in the most efficient way possible. But sometimes we ignore our sat-nav. Sometimes we think we know better. Sometimes we just don't take our sat-nav with us because we think we know the way, until we don't. Just like some of these poor people now. So here is a lorry. If you can't see, it is very firmly wedged between two walls. Clearly this road was far too narrow for it. This person thought they knew better, and they were proved very much wrong. Second one, please, Martin. This is a car that is literally on a railway. I don't know if it had an identity crisis, thought it was a train, went on the tracks and ceased to work, or whatever happened. Big error, big error. Not ideal. Next one, please, Martin. This is a car on a golf course. Maybe this person thought, I know, golf buggies are for losers. Golf cars are the way forward. I've spotted a niche in the market. Again, not ideal. This person is very firmly stuck in a bunker. I don't think a wedge is going to get them out of it. That's a golf check. Golf, I know about golf. And the next one. That's car on some steps. I honestly don't know how you make this error. This one absolutely baffles me. Somehow someone has gone, oh, that's an odd hill. It's very rigid. And started to go down it until clearly their car has given up the ghost. Big error, big error. And then I think this is the last one coming up. Huge mistake here. Does anyone recognise this particular bus or the situation the bus finds itself in? Hands nodding. Maybe a few of our more seasoned members of the congregation. In fairness, this is a great film. I love this film. This is from the film The Italian Job, the original one, the proper one, with Michael Caine. Incidentally, his first major movie role, I believe. And this is at the end of the film. They're driving away. They've got all the gold bullion. They've succeeded. The Beatles are playing. Self-Preservation Society. Triumphant moment for them all. And then all of a sudden, the end of the bus swings out over this precipice in the Alps. and they're stuck there. And the gold bullion starts sliding towards the end, and they're all edging back towards the other way to try and counterbalance it, and they're not sure how they're going to be able to get out of the situation. And does anyone know what the final line of the film is? What Michael Caine's character, Charlie Croker, says? Does anyone remember what that final line is? He says, hang on a minute, lads, I've got a great idea. Because that is Charlie Croker. He's the ideas man. He's the one that came up with this plan to steal all of this gold bullion. And now I'm not about to say that God is like a gold bullion stealing thief. That is not what God is like. But much like Charlie Croker, God does have a plan. He always has a plan for us. He never forces his authority onto us. He never says you must follow this sat-nav. He doesn't take over the car. But he says, I've got the plan. I know the way to go. And if you follow me, you'll get there safely and you'll get there in the best way possible. We have the option to end up driving onto train tracks or a golf course or down some steps. But God wants us to go the easy way, to go the best way for us and for his kingdom. And that's what we see in this reading as well from Ecclesiastes 3. God is in control. In the good and the bad, God is in control. In the permanent and the temporary, God is in control. And in the physical and the spiritual, God is in control. He allows us free will and the ability to make our own decisions, to make our own mistakes. As I was saying a few weeks ago, God is the master tapestry weaver. And even when we find ourselves in a time of tears, he can pick up those loose threads and bring us back into a time of laughter. So as we go into the term ahead, it's a time of change for many in our personal lives, as we heard from Susie, starting new schools, maybe starting new jobs, having moved houses, things like that. It's a big time change for our church. Over the last 6 months, we've had people join us. We've had a new vicar who's been excellent. We've had a lot of change come through our church. And of course, it's a big time of change for the nation as well. We've got a new king. We've got a new prime minister. There's a whole raft of issues that need to be dealt with by both of those people, and so much more as well. But through it all, the good and the bad, the happy and the sad, God is in control. He knows the master plan, and he will bring us safely through. Amen.